So yeah, yesterday I was introducing this new game I made, and today I realized, it's actually just Guitar Hero for a Gypsy Jazz guitar. But doesn't matter, it's still, I think, a lot of fun. And if you practice this, even if you don't participate in the scoring, the ELO, you would still improve your technique a lot, because this stuff is difficult. I got the idea from the game Only Up, which is a big obstacle course where you start on the ground floor and then you have to go up into space by doing more and more difficult levels, right? And in the middle, if you fall down, you can fall all the way down, and you might be doing it for 3 hours. It's a lot of fun. You can see on YouTube, a lot of people are frustrated with it. But then, of course, after a while, there are some people that got really good at the game and managed to beat the game in like 12 minutes. So that gave me the idea to create something like that game for Gypsy Jazz. Why a game? Because I'm a big believer in gamification to learn stuff faster or with more engagement. Because if it's a game, if you can score, if you can improve your own score, it's just a good motivator to work harder. Of course, the goal is not the game or the score. The goal is to get better, but this is a very good distractor from the fact that practicing can be boring. So I made these exercises and I showed it last night on my stream. But then today I was editing the video for YouTube and I thought to myself, I can make it a lot better if the challenge wouldn't be to play it with a metronome, but to play it with a backing track. So then I started making a backing track. But when I was making the backing track, I realized that I needed to change some things in the original exercises to make it more musical. Because if you play rhythm guitar, the chord changes need to be somewhat logical, right? Not everything is logical. It's still kind of a weird progression. But I needed more bars. I needed some things that could connect the exercises better. So I also changed the exercises, and I'm both happy and sorry to say that it is now more difficult than it was yesterday. But I think it's also a lot more fun, and you'll have a lot of fun practicing it. I'm having a lot of fun practicing it. Yesterday I didn't really practice it before the stream, but now I practiced it a little bit. I think I already got better. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to basically do the video I did last night again, because also I found that some of the exercises I didn't really explain well enough how to practice it. Becoming good at an art form is a bit different than gamification. No, gamification is actually, gamification can be many things, but gamification in educational purposes means that you try to mold the skills that you need to acquire for a certain art form or a language into a game, so that you have not only the skills to focus on, but you can also focus on the mechanisms of the game, which in itself can be very rewarding. And a lot of research has been done in this area. There's even a PhD, Scott Nicholson is a PhD in a Canadian university who has done extensive research into gamification and the benefits for education, and I really believe in that. I mean, that's basically how I learned a lot of the things. I always made up little games for myself to see if I could make it. For instance, if I practice a lick, I have a game with myself that I need to be able to play it at least 5 times without mistakes before I can move on. It's little stuff like that really keeps me engaged while practicing. So that's the idea behind this activity. Let's call it activity or game. It's purely a game to level up your technique, right? This is not about improvisation or any other thing. It's pure technique, but technique is important. Everything starts with technique. If you don't have technique, you can't play anything. So that is maybe the most important thing about an instrument is technique. And then the second thing, probably timing. And once you got those two things, technique and timing, then everything else that you want to learn is way easier, because you can already probably technically play it and you can already play it with good sense of time. So everything will sound good immediately. Well, then it's just a matter of developing your musicality and taste. That can take a long time, but you'll have a leg up on everyone that didn't develop their technique and timing to a good level. So this exercise is for your technique, a lot of fun to do it because it's a game. So let me show you the tab. Here's a tab. Now let me first show you the rules, right? Let's first that we know what the game is. If you teach somebody the rules to a game, you should always start with the win conditions, because everything else that you explain afterwards can then be framed in that context, and it's important. So these are the rules. I made a backing track, which wasn't there yesterday, but I made it today, and it's a very good backing track because it shows you what you have to play. It also shows you the next thing you have to play. Like when you play Tetris, you always see the next block on the top right, so you know what to expect. I did the same thing here. So you have to play with the backing track at full speed, which is 155 BPM. That doesn't seem that fast, but there's also 16 notes in this exercise, so that's really fast, because that's basically playing eighth notes at 310 BPM. That's really very fast. 3 strikes and you're out. That means that you can always stop and restart an exercise that you thought wasn't going well, and you can restart 2 times. But after that, you can restart again. So if you mess up in such a way that you cannot continue because you lose your place or you're not in sync with the backtrack, you have to stop. And you did the exercise until there. But let's say you do exercise 5 and you make 2 mistakes and you think to yourself, no, I can do that better. You can restart exercise 5 and you can do it 2 times. But 3rd strike, you have to stop. After you've done that, you have to record yourself. You will listen to yourself, slow down. We will do that today. I will show you. And you have to deduct 15 points per imperfection to get to your ELO. So ELO is a score name that they use, or like a rating that they use in chess, but also outside of chess it's used. ELO doesn't mean anything. It's just named after a Hungarian chess player called Arpad ELO, or ELO Arpad, who made sure that it was a statistically sound way of gauging the rating in a zero-sum game. Now, this is not a zero-sum game, but I was still using this name because it's a well-known name. Let's say you did 5 exercises and you stopped. Then you have 1,500 points, but then you have to check your imperfections. And let's say you found 10 of these imperfections. You have to deduct 150 points to get to a score of 1350 ELO. Now, to make it more fun, I will start a leaderboard in my Discord. Link, I will give you a link later. And if you publish your video in the Discord, for that you have to upload it to YouTube, I would say unlisted, but you have to share the link in Discord. So the idea is when you post a video, you have to also calculate your own ELO and give time codes with the imperfections. And then I will check that. So I can double check the calculation, and I'll make a new leaderboard, especially for the ELO challenge. But that's not the only thing. You will also get a title in the Discord. And the title are funny names that I came up with. Like, let's say you end up at the ELO 1350, then you will get in the Discord, you will get your name, and after your name it will set PNG. And these are the titles that you can get. I just made them funny, right? So if you're the lowest level, you're NTP, you need to practice. If you're between 300 and 599, you're not bad, bro, NBB. If you're 600 to 899, you're WTJ, where's the gem? Then you're my family's impressed. PNG, playing nice gigs. IHB, I'm her, I'm him. I know if you know about that, that's like a meme. If you're very good at a game or very stylish, you could say I'm him or he's him, right? Then 1800 to 2100, you're a people fear me. And then you're a headline festivals, 2400 to 2699. Well, that's very difficult to get, but then you are GSG, God Signature Guitar. And if you're 3000, that means that you've done all the exercises without any mistakes, which is pretty much impossible. Then you would be a BTT, Birelli's technique teacher. Maybe Birelli would be able to do all the exercises perfectly. I think maybe Stockholm could do it too, but it's very difficult. It's not like any pro can just do it. I cannot do all the exercises perfectly. So let me show you the exercises. And even if you don't want to participate in the game, you could just test yourself and you can work on your technique and you can try to beat your own score, which is really a great way to motivate yourself. It's 10 exercises. They get progressively more difficult. And there's a backing track that really follows all of these exercises perfectly. So you also know if you make a mistake or you miscount, you won't be in sync with the backing track. So that makes it very easy. So Let me go over every exercise so that you know what to expect and if there are difficulties, what you have to practice on. Now, the first exercise is not that difficult. Let me play it with the metronome at 1:55 because that's the tempo we have to do it in. I'll play it once and I'll explain what it is that you have to pay attention to. Let me get this. I need to put the guitar a little bit higher so you can really hear it in the microphone. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. A couple of things are important. First thing is that it has to be swing eighth notes. So you cannot play it straight. You cannot play 3, 4. No, it has to be long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. So this triplet needs to be very well articulated and, of course, even notes. And immediately after triplets, you have to go back to swing. Now you have to play these triplets very articulated with a slide. And this one is also difficult to have all the notes clean. This jump is difficult. If you make jumps like that, I made a short about that, always focus on your arm, not on your fingers. Don't think like this, that I have to jump with my first finger. No, think about moving your whole hand to the next fret with your arm. Because your arm is much easier to train for those things in your fingers. So, first exercise, not difficult. Go to the second exercise. Let me play that with the metronome again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure which one is more difficult, the first one or the second one, but they're both not very difficult. But with this one, it's important that this triplet is very well articulated. And then swing. Also, make sure that those last 2 eighth notes, that's also in the first exercise, by the way, that they are swung. So don't play that B is still short. So it's long, short. It's late, that B. Even though there's no note behind it. Okay, now we go to exercise number 3. It's a famous Stochelo-Rosenberg lick that he usually plays in bossa. So he would play it straight. He would just play. But in this exercise, you have to play everything swing. So it will sound like this. Starts on beat 4. 1, 2, 3. It's important that you keep those notes ringing. In the first bar, it's that E. Keep that down, and then keep the C sharp down. Now keep the G down. So don't play this. No, it has to have those ringing notes. Yeah? For the rest, it's not that difficult. Let's go to number 4. We get the triplets. Now, this triplet run is not difficult because it's all alternate. It starts in the last bar of exercise 3, and I start up. So I play. And then we get this fingering, which is very easy to do. 4, 3, 2, 1. Same again, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now 2 strings, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Again, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then a 4, 2, 1. All in triplets. So 1, 2, 3. With the metronome. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. For triplets, there's only one thing is important, that they are completely even. So never rush them or slow them down. But most people don't slow down when playing triplets, they rush. They have to be completely even. You could maybe, this F is on the beat 3, so maybe you could give a little accent. To keep your hand anchored to the beat. Let me exaggerate that. 1, 2, 3. So I'll also give an accent on the C. 1, 2, 3. And also on this F, because it's all on the beat. So on beat 1, beat 3, and then next bar beat 1. 1, 2. That's exaggerated, and then you do it lightly. Always if you have a lick that gives you trouble and you feel you kind of lose your place, the reason why you cannot play lots of licks is that your hands are not in sync anymore. So the way to battle that, to combat that, is to give accents on notes on the beat. To make sure that both your hands are on the right note at that spot. So in this case, that F on beat 3, I know I have a second finger here on the B string and I have a downstroke there. Okay, exercise 5 is difficult. I'll play it slowly first. 1, 2, 3, 4. That last lick, 1. So there's a couple of things that are happening here. First of all, you have this typical Django thing. But then Stochel likes to repeat that. That's tricky to play because there's a lot of double downstrokes. So pay attention to both G's. Give them little accents or be very sure that you play them articulated. So you hear, that's your focus. Then we get the famous lick from Forza Fora, but on D instead of E7. Now these chords, you can play them like I play them. So I play them, let me make the screen big so you can see it. Actually, I can zoom in on the guitar a little bit. So I play it like this. On the A string, I play 7, and then it's 8, 7, 8, 8. But I play it like this, like Django. Or like under the bar, but a lot of people play it like that. You can do both ways. So it's just a half diminished chord, but you also flatten your pinky to have the high C. But I find it easier to play it like that. Down, up, down. So you get. Then play the whole thing in close up. That jump is difficult, but again, focus not on your finger, but focus on your arm. No, just know, I'm in 5th position, I have move my arm to 8th position. And then I just put my finger down, right? It should feel the same as if I would be doing this. That would be the same for my fingers. The only thing is that my arm moves my hand up for the last note. Just a mental thing. You have to remind yourself of, don't focus on your fingers, but focus on your arm to do the position changes. Let's get back to the tab. Let me play that thing at tempo 155. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you could hear that I rushed the first G sharp. That's on the beat. Don't be too early with that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah. So the first time I made a jump with my finger and I missed a note. The second time I focused on my arm and it wasn't a problem. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Okay, let's go to exercise 6. Exercise 6 is that famous typical gypsy jazz picking pattern, you know, the one where you just play diminished arpeggios. You play up and then you sweep 3 notes. Up. And this is the variant where you just play from major to diminished. So you get. That's it with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for this exercise, it's important that you try to play the 16th notes as even as possible. So don't do... Right? You want to hear ticka 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 ticka. Almost like a harp. Again, all the position changes are made with my arm. For my fingers, it feels like I'm just doing this. Stationary. I'm just moving my arm in between these patterns. Let's go on to exercise 7. Now we get to the really difficult stuff. This is a diminished arpeggio up. And I put a slide there. In yesterday's version, I did a pick note, but I think let's do a slide, makes it a little bit easier. And also these slides are not made with my finger, right? I'm not doing, no, I'm moving my whole arm for the slide. And then we get, and I play it like this, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 2, 1, and then 3, 2, 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 1. That's the typical Gonzalo Bergara or like Adrien Monard scale where they do stuff like... So 4 notes per string, and then you just move a fret down every time. Sounds very advanced, but it's a trick. It's in this lick. That's with the metronome. It's very fast, right? And then you end on beat 4, and then you immediately have to play a chord. For the 8th exercise, you play this chord, E with the G sharp on the bass. So let's start with the exercise before. That's the exercise. And then we come to 8, and this is maybe, for some people, it stops here, because now we get a very difficult phrase. It's a phrase from Bosso Dorado. Let me play it slowly first, then you recognize it, and then I'll explain how to practice it. This is for me also a very difficult part of this exercise, this game. 1, 2, 3. But this is tempo 130. Let me try 150, and then I'll explain how to practice it. 155, I mean. 1. 1, 2, 3. So, I am working on playing it differently from how I used to play it. So I used to play it like it's in the tab. So in the tab it says open string here, open D string. It's fine, that's how Stockler does it. You get a double down there because you get a double down. It's not a problem. But actually, if you play that D with your 4th finger like this, it's all alternate. And in the end, that's going to be easier. For me, I have to just get used to the fact that it's just different, right? But it's actually easier. So I've been practicing it a little bit. I've been practicing for like an hour, and I'm starting to feel it already, but I still have to get used to it. But it's actually way easier. So how do you practice something like this? This is like the real first challenge. So I would practice it first without the backing track. Because of course there's the backing track, which I will show you later, and you can slow it down, right? You could put the backing track at half speed. That's fun, you should do it. But first you have to practice everything in isolation. So something like this, you practice with, I would say practice that with my metronome system. I'm going to explain it very quickly. First, you play it like this with the metronome and all 4 beats. But let's go a little bit slower. Let's go to 80. First thing you do is train yourself to play accents on every first beat. So let's only talk about the first bar. So it's an accent on the G sharp, on the upstroke, down, on the G sharp down. Now upstroke on the B. Upstroke on the E. So you practice with the metronome very slowly and only care about the accents. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Then you turn off beat 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I would always sing the rhythm first to make sure that you're in sync with the metronome. Daga, 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 daga. 2 accents, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Right? Now you turn off beat 1 and 3, and you do only beat 2 and 4. 4. If you can't hear it, just start saying 2 and 4 when you hear the beat. So 2, 4, and then fill in 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba da ba da ba do 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 di ba da 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 ba da da dum. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Then you turn off beat 4. You only have beat 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba da 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 ba da ba da da di ba da da di ba da da dum. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So now only beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Let me look. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Ba da ba da ba da ba da 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 ba da da dee ba dee dee doom. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. You will see in this tempo that's very difficult to do. But then you move up. So let's say we are at tempo 155, which is the tempo we have to be at. We'll do this whole thing again, but I'm going to start at beat 2 and 4. But now you notice you cannot play all the 4 accents anymore. It's just too fast. So then you just only play the accent on beat 1 and beat 3. So you get... So on the G sharp and the open B string. And so beat 2 and 4. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 1, 2. 2, 3. Yeah? And then you do beat 2 and only, beat 4 only. But it's a slow process. I'm still working on it because for me, this fingering is new. But I really like to play that with just the 4th finger. If you want to do open string, it's fine. I mean, played it like that for a long time. So let me play this whole line with tempo 155. Let's do click on 2 and 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, let's go to next exercise. For me, 9 is not that difficult, but I can imagine for some people this will be very difficult. It's basically just diminished arpeggios over 6 strings, moving a half step up every time. So you start from E to B flat, from F to B, from F sharp to C, from G to D flat, and from G sharp to D. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. That's it. If you want to have tips on how to practice diminished arpeggios like this, watch my technique video. It's called Gypsy Jazz Technique 2.0, something like that. I will link it in the description of the YouTube video when it comes out, and then I'll go over the diminished arpeggios. But for now, let's go on. For the final exercise is just a theme of rythme futur, which is very difficult at this tempo. The most difficult thing about it is this part, this sweep. It's so easy to fumble the notes, rush. So in my head, I just slow down there. Like you could actually slow down to practice like this, to check if you are still in control over the sweep. So you could just, let's say I take a metronome, a 155, and let's say I play the thing in tempo, but there I just take quarter notes like this. 1, 2, To really check this sweep. Ah. Of course, there's also this, I do a hammer-on. If you want to pick everything, be my guest, but that makes it very difficult. Let me play the whole thing just normally. 1, 2, See, I start tripping over my own fingers. That's just what happens in this theme. You can see everything, but it goes below the screen. So let me show you the backing track. Let me just play the backing track once without playing, and you can see what happens in the screen. Is it loud enough? Okay, so there's a couple of things that are happening. First of all, it follows along, so you can always know where you are. But also, when it hits 2 bars before the next exercise, I think that was pretty smart of me. I stole it from Tetris. You see the next one, right, on top. So you don't need to watch the PDF. I will put the PDF for upload. But you can just use the backing track and use only that. Because it's not important if you know it by heart. I mean, in the end, you will know it by heart. But it's important that you play everything correctly, or as good as possible. As well as possible, as good as possible, as good as possible. Another thing is, because you have the 2 restarts, you can always, let's say you make a mistake here, right? You make a mistake here. Exercise 5, you can just scroll down and say, I want to start exercise 5 again, and it will start 2 bars before. So let me attempt a run. I'm going to do a run completely from the beginning. It only takes 1 minute 11, and I'll record myself, and I will show you the process of determining your ELO by checking how many mistakes you made. I can restart 2 times if I want to, but I cannot do it the 3rd time, right? So here we go. I record myself. Hello, this is Christian from the future. It is in this point in the stream that I do a live run, a live attempt at the challenge, and it went very well. I scored a 28.50. But there's a few things about that attempt that I cannot post it here. The first one is that the rhythm guitar was way too loud. And that is because the mix I hear in my ears is not the same as the mix that my stream hears, and I didn't really check it before I started streaming, and during the stream there was nothing I could do about it to check it. So the rhythm guitar was way too loud. So when counting the mistakes afterwards, I might have missed some. Another thing is that what I should never do again is play with a backing track on YouTube. Because the backing track on YouTube, the sound is direct in the stream, but the sound on the microphone is slightly delayed. So everything is a little bit out of sync. It's not like a terrible thing, but it's enough to be disturbing. So to fix that, what I decided to do is to do it again right now. And instead of using the backing track on YouTube, I'm using a backing track on my phone going through a Bluetooth speaker. And that's actually the way you should do it as well. Because one of the rules is actually that you should record both the guitar and the backing track with the same microphone. That prevents cheating. Because if you have the backing track on a separate source and the guitar, you could fix some mistakes, right? You could do some overdubs and maybe people won't notice. But if you use one microphone, that's, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's going to be very difficult to hide it and I will see it. So I'm doing an attempt right now again with this Bluetooth speaker and just the guitar directly into the microphone. If you do that at home, make a small recording first to check if the balance between the backing track and the guitar is okay. The guitar should be clearly audible so that you can really check for mistakes. But of course the backing track should also be audible enough so that we get the timing. I'm gonna try it now. Let's see if I can get the same score as last night, 2850. I doubt it, that's a pretty high score, but let's try. Now let's slow down the recording and check for mistakes. Now I wouldn't go too slow, don't go below 50% because then you will have an unrealistic view of your mistakes. Like some notes are not meant to be as articulated as others. So I found at 50% you get a good sense of your mistakes. So I think that was pretty much perfect. You could say that that triplet at the end, one note was not so articulated, but in this case I feel that is part of the sound. It would be different if I would play a wrong note, something like this. Something like that would be a mistake, but a little less articulation within the triplet. Even though articulation is important, but you still hear it's a triplet and there's no wrong note. So I would say this is good enough for 300 points. Let's continue. Same again, like the triplet ends. Not every note is articulated even, but that's part of this triplet in this lick because it's not a continuing line of triplets. It's just one little triplet, almost like an embellishment. So, of course, I'm the judge here. I'm judging my own playing, but you can use this information also when you score your own attempt. But I would say this is good. Timing was pretty much perfect, so 600 points so far. Let's go. Oh. Perfect. There were no mistakes there. That's perfect, no mistakes, timing good, all notes clear, the ringing notes were there. Let's continue. Let's listen to it one more time. I was rushing a little bit there in the beginning of the triplets. Landed too early on the C and it disturbed the flow of the lick. So this is my first mistake. So let's just count 1. But the rest was okay. So that's 4 exercises, it's 1,200 points. But let's just only count mistakes from now on and then we'll make the final score at the end. So mistakes so far, the count is 1. Yeah, I think this phrase, there was that E was a little bit muffled, but both G's were good. So that is the most important thing. So I'm not counting that mistake. But in this phrase, there were some notes that were unclear. So that's not a mistake. So 2. That I would count as perfect. Yeah, the 16th were not completely even, but that's pretty much impossible with this phrase because of the shifting and the speed. But all the notes were there, and there was one point where I started rushing a little bit, but I immediately corrected, and that's a good thing in this phrase. Because that stuff might happen in real life too, and it's not a problem. So far, still the count is 2. One more time. I think the diminished phrase going up was not very good. I mean, it was okay, but it can be much clearer. So that's another mistake. So 3. Let's go on. There were 2 notes unclear in the diminished run up. I want to count it as 2 mistakes because they were not like notes that were next to each other. They were separate notes. So I guess we're now at 5. If the count's incorrect, when editing, I will correct it, but I think it's 5 right now. Yeah, so I keep playing something like instead of. So I think I did it in all of them right now. Let's check one more time. Yes, so 6, 7, 8. That's good. 9. Yeah, that's a lot of mistakes. This is always the same note, but I'm going to count it every time. So that's 9. 10. That's good. I could go 11, but I feel like this was pretty good. Let's keep it at 10. That's the same score I had last night. A different mistake though. Although, of course, the recording last night, the rhythm was much too loud, so I could have missed something. But I'm going for 10. So that means 3,000 points minus 10 times 15 is 150. Is 2850. That's the same score as I had last night. I'm very happy with that score. That's a good score. But it can be improved, and of course I will attempt to improve it. Now let's get back to last night's stream. To see the end of the stream, I have some thoughts about dealing with the frustration you might encounter when practicing this. Now let me give you a couple of thoughts. You might get discouraged when you start because you'll find it's very difficult. It is very difficult. So, and you see me do it, right? And maybe it looks easy, but don't forget, I've been practicing Gypsy guitar for the last 12 years, for 6 hours a day. The last 12 years for 6 hours a day. Something like that. So I should be able to do both of these things, right? Because if you practice for 6 hours a day, every day, at least 4 hours, you're going to get good. I mean, how many hours is that? That's run down to 300 days a year. That's 18,000 hours, right? So let's run down to 15,000. I spent 15,000 hours practicing Gypsy guitar, so I better be good at it. And I still can improve so many things. If you practice for like 5,000 hours, I wouldn't expect you to get above 1,800, to be fair. Right? 1,800, around 2,100. But it's a good gauge because maybe you'll discover that your technique is very good and that you don't have to work on it as much. And maybe you should focus your attention more on like learning lines or learning themes. Or maybe discover, you know what, I've been working on lines and every day, but I need to work on my technique because I'm only 1,200. And if you're 1,200, you're playing some nice gigs, right? PNG, that's your score, but it's not enough. So it's just fun to do it, and it's fun to try and beat your own score. I have a 2850, that's a very high score. Maybe I just got lucky now, but I'll try to beat it.